Tales Told in Granny T's Fort, Jessie and the Tiny Taste Quest. The blanket fort smelled like warm blankets and sleepy shampoo and the tiniest hint of something else, something like dinner. Jessie crawled in and made a face immediately. I can still smell it, he muttered. Peyton blinked. Smell what? Jessie scrunched his nose like the air had offended him. The new food, he said. Roland's eyes flicked up, quiet and curious. Oliver whispered, What new food? Jessie sighed dramatically. My mom's made this thing, he said. It was green. Peyton's eyes widened. Green food isn't always bad. Jessie pointed at her like this was personal. Green food is suspicious, he declared. Granny T ducked into the fort behind them and settled into her cozy chair, lantern in her lap. Her eyes twinkled. Ah, she said softly, a new food day. Jessie groaned. It looked weird, he said, and it smelled weird. And they said, just try it. And my whole body went. He tensed his shoulders, fists tightening. No. Oliver nodded sympathetically. That happens. Jessie huffed. And then I got mad because everyone was looking at me. Peyton whispered, I hate when people watch me eat. Roland murmured, Me too. Jessie blinked, surprised they agreed. Granny T's voice stayed gentle. My love, she said, it's okay to feel nervous about new foods. Jessie frowned. But they want me to eat it. Granny T nodded once. And you get to stay in control of your own body, she said firmly. Jessie's shoulders loosened a little. Granny T continued, soft but certain. No one gets to force your mouth. Jessie blinked again. That sentence landed like safety. Granny T smiled. But, she added, we can learn how to be curious. Curiosity is braver than fear. Jessie's eyes narrowed. Curious, he repeated, suspicious of the word. Granny T chuckled softly. If today felt too big, she said, we'll make it smaller, one story at a time. Jessie hesitated, then nodded. Granny T turned the lantern's knob. Click. Golden light bloomed inside it, slow and calm, like a sunrise that didn't need to hurry. And just like that, the story world woke up. The fort expanded. The air smelled like cinnamon and toast and something exciting, like a new place. The lantern glow spilled across the floor, and the shadows formed a soft path. Granny T's voice became the story. Tonight, she whispered, I'm going to tell you about a boy who went on a food adventure. Jessie squinted. Without being forced to eat anything, Granny T added gently. Jessie relaxed instantly. Okay, he said. Continue. Peyton giggled. The lantern pulsed once, and the story began. Jessie and the Tiny Taste Quest. Once upon a time, in a town where the market stalls glowed like lanterns and the streets smelled like warm bread, there lived a boy named Jessie. Jessie was brave, not quiet brave, not slow brave. Jessie was volcano brave. He climbed high things. He ran fast. He jumped first. But there was one kind of bravery Jessie did not like. Food bravery. New foods felt like traps. New foods looked wrong. New foods smelled suspicious. New foods made Jesse's stomach twist and his throat tightened and his face do that thing where it wanted to scream, "Nope." One day, Jesse's family took him to the adventure market. It wasn't a normal market. It was a magical market where every food had a tiny door on it, like it was hiding a secret world inside. There were purple berries that sparkled, golden soup that steamed in swirls shaped like dragons, crunchy crackers that sounded like walking on snow, and green things. So many green things. Jesse made a face. "Why is everything green?" he muttered. A voice behind him said, "Because green is the color of mystery." Jesse spun around. Standing there was a tiny creature wearing a chef's hat and explorer boots. It had a map tucked into its belt and a magnifying glass hanging from its neck. It looked very serious. "I am Captain Crumb," the creature announced proudly. Jesse blinked. "Captain Crumb?" Captain Crumb saluted. "Explorer of flavors," it said. "Protector of brave nibblers." Jesse frowned. "I'm not a nibbler." Captain Crumb nodded solemnly. "That's what all great heroes say at the beginning," it replied. Jesse crossed his arms. "I don't want to try new foods." Captain Crumb nodded again, like this was completely normal. "You don't have to," it said. Jesse blinked. Captain Crumb pointed at Jesse's chest. "Your body is your ship," it said. "You are the captain." Jesse's eyes widened slightly. Captain Crumb leaned closer. "No one else gets to steer your mouth," it said firmly. Jesse's shoulders dropped. That felt good. But Captain Crumb wasn't finished. "However," it said, pulling out a rolled-up scroll, "you have been invited on a quest." Jesse narrowed his eyes. "What kind of quest?" Captain Crumb unrolled the scroll dramatically. It read, "The Tiny Taste Quest. You may investigate new foods like an explorer. You may stop at any time. You are always in control." Jesse stared. "Investigate?" he repeated. Captain Crumb nodded. "Food is not just eating," it said. "Food is also discovery." Jesse looked suspicious. Captain Crumb grinned. "Let me show you the levels," it said. It held up a tiny badge shaped like a nose. Level 1, the sniff. Captain Crumb sniffed a steaming bowl dramatically. "Smelling is brave," it declared. Jesse blinked. "That counts?" Captain Crumb nodded. "Absolutely." It held up a badge shaped like a finger. Level 2, the touch. Captain Crumb poked a piece of fruit. "Touching is information," it said. Jesse frowned. "What if it's slimy?" Captain Crumb nodded seriously. "Then you learn it's slimy." Jesse huffed, almost amused. Captain Crumb held up a badge shaped like a tongue. Level 3, the tiny taste. Captain Crumb tapped the food with its tongue like it was testing lava. "A taste is just a peek," it said, "not a promise." Jesse's eyes widened. "Not a promise?" Captain Crumb shook its head. "You can taste and stop," it said. "You stay captain." Captain Crumb held up a badge shaped like a tooth. Level 4, the nibble. "A nibble is a brave bite," it said, "small enough to feel safe." Captain Crumb held up a badge shaped like a trophy. Level 5, the bite. "This is the big one," it said. But you only do it if you want to. Jesse stared at the badges. The levels made his chest feel less tight, because it wasn't all or nothing. It was steps, tiny steps. Captain Crumb led Jesse to a stall with a bowl of something green. It was warm and smelled strange. Jesse's whole body tensed. "Nope," he muttered. Captain Crumb nodded. "Level 1, it said calmly. Just sniff." Jesse frowned. He didn't want to, but sniffing wasn't eating. Sniffing was investigating. Jesse leaned in a tiny bit and sniffed. His nose wrinkled. "It smells like grass soup," he said. Captain Crumb nodded, impressed. "Excellent description," it said. "Your explorer senses are strong." Jesse blinked. That didn't feel like pressure. That felt like respect. Captain Crumb pointed. "Level 2, it said. Touch." Jesse hesitated. Then he poked the green food with one finger. It was warm, soft, not as gross as he expected. "It's mushy," Jesse reported. Captain Crumb nodded solemnly. "Mushy is a texture," it said, "not a danger." Jesse almost smiled again. Captain Crumb leaned closer. "Level 3, it said gently. Tiny taste." Jesse's stomach tightened. He shook his head fast. "No." Captain Crumb didn't argue. It nodded. "Then you stop," it said. "You're still brave." Jesse blinked. "Even if I stop?" he asked. Captain Crumb nodded. "Explorers don't force themselves," it said. "They choose." Jesse stared at the bowl again. He didn't want to be scared of it. He didn't want it to win. He wanted to be the captain. Jesse took a breath. He dipped the very tip of a spoon into the green food. He touched it to his tongue. Just a tap. Then he pulled the spoon away fast. His eyes widened. "It tastes," he began. Captain Crumb leaned in. Jesse blinked. "Like warm leaves," Jesse finished. Captain Crumb clapped its tiny hands. "Amazing," it said. "Warm leaves." Jesse frowned. "That's not good." Captain Crumb nodded. "It's not your favorite. That's allowed." Jesse stared at the spoon. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't gagging. He wasn't exploding. He had tasted it, and the world hadn't ended. Captain Crumb smiled. "You did level 3, it said proudly. Jesse's chest warmed, not because he liked the food, but because he had been brave. Captain Crumb leaned closer. "And you know the most important part?" it asked. Jesse whispered. "What?" Captain Crumb tapped Jesse's chest gently. "You stayed in control," it said. Jesse nodded slowly. That part felt good. They walked to another stall. This one had something crunchy and orange. Jesse sniffed. "Smells okay," he admitted. Captain Crumb nodded. "Level 1. Jesse touched it. "Not slimy," he reported. Captain Crumb nodded. "Level 2. Jesse did a tiny taste. His eyes widened. "That's actually good," he said, shocked. Captain Crumb gasped dramatically. "A new discovery!" it cried. Jesse smiled, a real one, because this time the adventure had a prize. Not a forced prize, a surprise prize. As they walked through the adventure market, Captain Crumb explained something important. New foods are like caves, it said. Jessie frowned. Caves? Captain Crumb nodded. Some caves have bats, it said, and you don't like bats. Jessie made a face. Correct. Captain Crumb continued. But some caves have treasure, it said. Jessie's eyes flicked up. Captain Crumb smiled. You don't know until you investigate, it said. And investigating doesn't mean you have to move in. Jessie blinked. That sentence felt important. Captain Crumb held up the scroll again. You may investigate. You may stop. You are always in control. Jessie nodded slowly. He didn't suddenly love all foods. He didn't become a different kid. But he became something better. A kid who could take a tiny step. A kid who could be curious. A kid who could try without being forced. The lantern glow softened. The adventure market faded. Captain Crumb disappeared into warm shadow. And suddenly, the fort was just the fort again. Jessie blinked slowly. His hands rested on his sleeping bag. Granny T watched him gently. Jessie swallowed. Smelling counts? He asked quietly. Granny T nodded. Smelling counts. Peyton whispered. Touching counts too. Roland murmured. Tiny taste. Oliver smiled. And stopping counts. Jessie blinked at them. Then he whispered like he was practicing something brave. I'm the captain. Granny T's eyes warmed. Yes, she said softly. You are. Jessie's shoulders dropped. He wasn't scared anymore. Not because the food changed, but because he had a plan and control and permission to go slowly. Granny T smiled gently. And explorers, she added, don't have to like everything they discover. Jessie huffed. Good, he said, because some foods are still suspicious. Everyone giggled softly, even Roland, just a little. The fort grew quiet again. The lantern dimmed, low and warm. Granny T's voice wrapped around them like a blanket. Close your eyes, my loves. You're safe. You're loved. You're home.